Okay, so I'm here to talk a little bit about Amsterdam characters, obviously, my project. So this is it. And since we're all here talking about Amsterdam and about our connections with Amsterdam, I thought I should start off with a little bit of an introduction about my connection with Amsterdam and how this all started, how I actually got the idea of going hunting people in the streets of Amsterdam. I was always interested in people, what drives them, why they do, what their motivations are. So I thought sociology as a study was a logical approach, and I thought, why not do it in the city that has the biggest buzz of human beings in the whole of Holland? So I went to Amsterdam. Quite a good reason, I thought. The study only partially satisfied my interest in what drives people, and it got me to certain answers, but certainly not all of them. So after getting my bachelor's degree, I decided to quit. I wanted to find out more about my initial motivations about people and what interests them. And yeah, so I found myself kind of dropping out because a bachelor's degree is nowadays not really like seen as a full studies. So I was a dropout. I was looking for inspiration. I didn't have a clue about what I was going to do, what my project was going to be. And I thought, what is going to trigger my inspiration? Well, you might find that some people take, I don't know, a shower, go traveling through South America to find themselves or something. What I did was cycling. I took my bike, I went for rides around town. And it's not the ride that you have to be in a place like in 5 minutes. It's the ride that you actually enjoy your surroundings. And you might have experienced a moment yourself. You don't have a goal, you don't have an aim for riding, you just go along. And it's those moments that you can actually appreciate what's around you. See Amsterdam for the beautiful city it is. And it helped. I got inspiration, and it really brought me to where I was interested in most, and was the people passing by every day. While I was riding my bike, I saw those interesting, intriguing characters with extravagant looks all over the city. And I really wanted to know more about them, because those encounters were too brief for my experience. They were too transcendent, and I really wanted to document them. I really wanted to grasp them in a way. So that was the start of Amsterdam Characters. I just took a camera with me and started shooting. So it could have been the woman, an artist, actually. She is Miss Fong Leng, a well-known character in the Jordaan. It was the two guys at the NDSM Werf, you all might know of the Eihallen market. And it was this guy wearing his hat and jumping on top of this kind of obstacle while doing his whole posing thing. So I had these wonderful encounters. And I started to make it a more thorough plan. I thought, okay, if I'm going to find these characters, I'm going to walk all over town, cycle all over town, I need to have more focus about what I'm doing, where I'm going. And this was the hunt, which Rob experienced. So I found that in some areas I was walking around for 3 hours and only found one person interesting. But there were certain areas that really got like very creative, eccentric characters. So, for example, Jordaan, one of my favorites. And this is all sort of classified information, but I'm telling you anyway. So don't go shooting there. I'll see you. So Jordaan, and then the Haarlemmerdijk, a really good one as well. I'd also go to all the markets, obviously, because there's a lot of crowds going on there. So Dappermarkt in East, the New Market, the Northern Markt, everywhere. But also like the northern districts, like the NDSM Werf, which I already told you about. Further east, more south, Vondelpark, all spots that people gather and creativity arises, something like that. So there I was, all over town. And then I started to ask myself another question, and that is, where am I exactly looking for? What really defines an interesting character? Because I was looking for something specific, something that strikes you immediately when you look at it. And obviously it was appearances, it was a look, an outside, and it was something interesting, something different, something that stands out from the crowd. And I found in the end that it actually is something about expressing something with sincerity. It's the way people communicate through their clothing and find inner motivations in an external form of expression. And in these encounters with people on the streets, I found that internal ways of expressing yourself translated to external ways of expressing themselves. And that made for really interesting encounters with really interesting people. And they all shared their stories. And it was so amazing that people in the streets of Amsterdam, which I chased, like literally, I'd go off my bike and I'd run to them and I'd grasp them and I said, I want to have your picture. That they actually opened up to me and that they wanted to share their stories. And that they were sharing not just what are you doing today, like on the daily basis information, but really who they were, where they were from, what their motivations were, which kind of obstacles they had overcome to find a way to expressing themselves that was very unique and individual. And that actually brought me to a new development in the process. So where I began with Amsterdam characters as just taking pictures, just documenting what came passing by every day, I inserted text as well. So these encounters that resulted in text and image showed to be the concept that relied on a story as well as a picture. So I met a lot of interesting people, a lot of daring people, people that really had the guts to really express who they were. And were really reflective on it as well, reflective of how they would feel, their role in society, the way society looked at them before maybe, and how they'd overcome kind of friction between the two. And these are only a few of the quotes I gathered. You might know this man, he's a very famous, horeca, how would you say that? Horeca hospitality cafe club owner. And he was talking about his beard and his tattoos, and he was saying, I kind of feel ashamed about it because there are so many people with beards and tattoos these days that I almost want to cover them, and I tend to tell the people, please don't take a tattoo because everyone has them already. And he was talking about this concept, being very reflective about what was going on around him. So he says, it seems like hipster is in decline, and finally will enter a phase with more room for individuality. And it was something that I didn't expect someone with such external forms of expression, that he was so reflective on this. And I thought it was a very positive note. This woman, like sunshine herself, so people smile when I walk by, I laugh a day, that's my aim. And she had to conquer a lot. She went from the north of Holland, Friesland, to Amsterdam in the 60s. And she was dressing this way before, and people didn't really appreciate it. She was kicked in her house by neighbors and all sorts of really, really bad stories. But she had overcome all those frictions, and now she's so happy, and she still dresses exactly the way she wants. And I thought that was such a positive note as well, to really feel and embrace the way people look at you and feel positive about what you dress like. And here's one other, the man in the hat, you might have seen him already. And he was kind of critical, and I like that as well. We live in a free world, yet we all choose to dress the same, be free. So he's a photographer, an artist, all of that. And he was in festivals, and he took pictures of legs, and he noticed that everyone was wearing the same jeans, like blue jeans. And he said, I'm not gonna do that. Why all choose the same? Be free. So we're going a little bit deeper because 3 years I've been doing it so far, and it got me a lot of materials to reflect on, a lot of stories to reflect on what is going on and why we do what we do. And I found that those stories that people tell me, they really have a relation with how they express themselves externally. So I found that external eccentricity really is a predictor of internal stories, the choices they've made, the obstacles they've overcome, their vision on life, and their life stories they build themselves. And then also some things changed in society along those 3 years. Facebook got a way bigger grip on our daily lives. And I think also Instagram really infiltrated our personal daily lives as well. And this got me wondering, because these media obviously facilitate a fast growing network to communicate and to inform each other, and images flowing around. But it seems like there's a little bit of homogeneous trend going on. And I really feel like this gave me this sort of gut feeling that I had about it, really gave me a deeper sense of what Amsterdam Characters is about. I just started taking pictures. I met the people, I really heard their stories. I found out how they feel about life and uniqueness. And to me, this is kind of an ode to diversity. That's what it's all about in the end. So I could leave you with this note, but I think we're going to descend just a little bit more. And yeah, let me introduce you to a few of my characters. So this is Francesca, Contessa di Parma in full. So one of the first pictures I actually took on the left, Frank, he was a man, and he was walking around the 9 streets, and I was not really familiar with the concept already. I was just walking around and not quite familiar with who I'm gonna put in front of the camera. But when I watched this man and I spotted him, I immediately thought I had to take his picture. So I walked up to him, and I saw he was kind of not too comfortable in his heels. He was like going slow and unsteady, and he had a chin covered with stubbles. And he told me he's a governmental official somewhere in a town just outside of Amsterdam, going only in Amsterdam in the weekends to feel free to be a woman, which he actually wanted to be. And during the week he would be the man in his suit, going home to his wife on the couch. So this was his Amsterdam freedom moment, where he actually could be what he wanted to be. He was still a bit shy though, and when I met him 3 years later, he was like really flaunting his act already, and definitely feeling a woman there. So that was a nice story. Francesca, Frank to Francesca. The unknown artist, really cool character. I found myself as well. Yeah, this was only like 2 months ago in September. It was a really sunny day, one of those last summer days. And I spotted the legs first, actually. They were so long, and I walked up to him and I said, "You've got really good legs, can I take your picture?" And he said, "Yeah, why not? I think so myself too, and I really wanted to be a model. I've done a lot of marathons, and I really love my legs, so yeah, take a picture." But we got on talking, and it turned out he got a really good life story as well. He's 60 now. You couldn't tell, but he's 60, very vibrant. He was a lawyer for over a few decades, and when he was 45, he got a burnout, and he couldn't do a thing anymore, couldn't move, just stayed in his house, and decided to quit his job. And then he turned artist. And he does it still. He does poetry and paintings. He paints like from pin-up sexy ladies to iconic pre-Renaissance art. So he's all over. And he didn't want to share his name. He just said, "I'm the unknown artist. You see me everywhere, but you don't know my name." And one last character I wanted to show you. This is Nana. She was working in one of the shops near the New Market. And I thought it was such a cool quote, because it really explains how easy and simple it can be to just express your uniqueness. "I only wear pink. That's all. I only wear pink." And she doesn't really wear anything else, just pink. So that's the characters. And there was one last scoop I wanted to share with you. I'm doing a book release with Cosmos, the publishers. And it's gonna feature about 80 of the characters I've shot in those 3 years that I've been walking the streets. It's gonna be in stores in March. So, and you're the first ones to know. So I wanted to share that. That's it.